This video is a quick introduction to Kubernetes and external DNS. You'll see what it is, how to install it, and I'll show you how to use it with a live demonstration. What is it? External DNS is a solution to publish your network names you use inside your Kubernetes cluster to the outside. It could be on the internet, but could be also on your private network so that an application can access a component running inside Kubernetes without even knowing where the component is, what is the cluster access point. It's a separate project that is part of the Kubernetes ecosystem, so it can be accessed on GitHub, and the project name is Kubernetes-incubator/external DNS. You'll find all the source code, but also the documentation, the tutorials, and you'll be able to open some issues if needed. External DNS now supports more than 20 different DNS providers, so all the cloud providers, but also some legacy providers if you want to run it on premises. The way it works is based on two different kind of resources. The first one is the ingress resource, so in that case it will discover the host directive, and assuming it supports the associated controller, get the associated endpoint and register them inside your DNS. The second way is with the service, so if you're using a service and assuming you're publishing the service to the outside, so for instance if you create a service of type load balancing, then you can also register an annotation with the service, and external DNS will use the host name to register it. There are other ways to do that, but that's probably the main one. External DNS can work with the same zone on different clusters altogether. The way it works is by tagging your resource, your DNS resource, with an owner ID. And it's a rather old project now at the scale of Kubernetes, because it's more than 2 years old. That's a project from Zalando. Installation and configuration is quite simple. First, you would need a DNS zone or a set of zones. You can have several. You can create it, but you can also use an existing one. Then you would have to have access to that zone. So usually it takes the form of a key or a role. In the case of AWS and Route 53, you will create a role. And last, you will need to have the external DNS service. If you want, you can access it from the Zalando registry, or if you prefer and you're more concerned with security, you can rebuild it by yourself. Once you have all that, you would configure the service, and in order to that, you choose the domain, the source you want to use, if it's an ingress or if it's a set of resources, the owner ID you want to rely on, and the provider you want to connect to. And once done, you just deploy the service account for the airbag roles and the deployment that does the management of the DNS, and you're done. You just can check it's working and monitor the deployment and part to make sure it's working over time, and you're basically done. Let's see how it works for real. In this demonstration, I'll do two separate things. First, I'll create a service with an annotation, and you'll see it's registering in the DNS. And second, I'll do the same with an ingress. But before we go to that, we'll have a quick talk about the configuration itself. Obviously, it's already configured, so I've deployed external DNS, and the way I've deployed it is with this manifest I've created. This manifest is actually the external DNS controller. It's deployment, and it has those useful information. First, it relies on the service account. And the reason it does that is because my cluster is airbag enabled cluster, so it needs the permissions to access the ingress and service and figure out what are the DNS. Second, it relies on the external DNS Zalando image, so that's actually the latest one. And last, it has a few parameters. So the first one is the source. It says here that it supports service and ingress, which is useful for my demonstration. It also says that the domain that will be published is example.com. So I'll show you, but I've already created that domain, and we'll do the registration in Route 53, so the AWS service. And the way we'll differentiate with the other cluster is with the Princess keyword. So that's pretty much it. I've deployed it. If you look at the deployment configuration, you'll see there is only here one deployment, and it's called external DNS. If we have a look at Route 53, here you see there is one hosted zone I've created. Obviously it's not available on the internet, it's only on my private network, but it is the example.com zone, and it has nothing in it. So we are pretty much ready. Here what I've done, I've created two setup service. So I'll apply the first one, and the reason I'll do that is because it takes some time for the apply to propagate the DNS across the network, and we'll have a look at it. So have you seen it has created a service on deployment? If I look at the manifest, you'll see that there is that's a very basic service. The only noticeable things is that the type is a load balancer, because it has to be accessible from the outside, and it has this annotation saying, okay, I want it to be published on nginx.example.com. It's obviously selecting some pod. So the pod have an app of nginx, and below you'll see the deployment that does the publication of the pod, and it has a label called nginx, and it's a vanilla nginx, right? Once you've done that, and you can have a look at your configuration, you'll see that here registration is already done. So it has registers with an alias, right? And the target alias is actually the LB that published the service, so the load balancer. And you will also see that it has this declaration saying, okay, the owner is actually Princess. That's the way it prevents the collision between the clusters. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So I will try to access that service. So I've because of the propagation time, and also because it has to be inside my private network, I've created an instance. Here you can see that if you want to access it, you can just curl for it. Here it is. So I curl nginx.example.com, and here's the answer. It answers right away. It has already done the whole thing. I'll do the same with the ingress. So here I have a manifest for the ingress. I'll do the apply before I describe it. Okay, we'll have a look at the ingress declaration. Here you see that it has nothing in it. It's just a regular, no annotation. It's just a regular declaration of an ingress. The point is the host itself is called nginx-ingress.example.com, and that's the directive that will be useful for the external DNS service to register it inside the inside Kubernetes. Here you see that it's connecting to a service, and that's the declaration of the service, and the service itself is connecting to another pod or set of pod that are called nginx ingress. That's to differentiate with the service. So I will connect back to my server. We'll have a look here at the DNS. It's not registering yet, right? So okay, so if the registration is not done yet, I won't be able to access it. So I will just log -f. I will get the pods, okay, to see what the service name is. So that's the external DNS pod name. I will have a look at the logs. Okay. Here you see it has just created the registration here. Okay, so now if we look at the configuration, yeah, here it is right away. Now we can connect to the server and we'll do a curl on the nginx-ingress.example.com, and here it is. And that was it for the demonstration. I'll finish that video with a quick wrap-up. First and foremost, you may want to reconsider before using it. There are other strategies that allows you to access a cluster externally. If, for instance, you only have one access point to the cluster, an ingress controller, for instance, then you can probably use a subdomain and prefix it with a star and point it to the ingress controller. That way, everyone will be able to access it without even have to use a service and maintain it, so probably less problems later. Another concern might be the security. Having a service that is able to register DNS, even if it's only on a private network, might be a concern from a security standpoint. So you might want to reconsider. If after that you still want to use external DNS, then it's a very useful tool for Kubernetes, very widespread too, easy to use. It has advanced features. It enables you to publish an ingress or a service from just a declaration. It probably supports any cloud provider, even if you're running on premises. You will be able to make it work quite easily, and you will be able to make it work even if you have several clusters running all together. It's a popular project, so you may want to have a look.